Chair Soto.
Present.
Board Vice Chair Wilson. Not present. Board Secretary Carrera-Montier.
Present.
Board Treasurer Vargas.
Present.
Board Member Quiroz.
Present.
Quorum is established. Oh, Board Member Baca, let me call. Not present.
So we have two board members who are not here.
Does everybody who have translation devices that wants one have one? Anybody else?
Okay. Item 3.0, approval of agenda. Are there any changes to our current agenda? If not, can I get a motion to approve our agenda? So moved.
I second.
Moved by Diana, seconded by Edgar. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved unanimously. Item 4.0, announcements. Are there any announcements? The only announcement that I have is we have our board retreat, our governance retreat on the 26th. And we're working on finalizing the agenda. So board members will have more information via email. And the agenda will be published for the government. Welcome, Nina. Item 5.0, consent calendar. Approval of board minutes 12/11/18. I have just a minor change to the minutes. Item 4.0 of the minutes, it says here board retreat is scheduled for January 26, 2008. 2018. It should be 2019. Any other comments or revisions to the minutes? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes as amended? So moved.
I second.
Moved by Diana, seconded by Edgar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved unanimously. Item 6.0, public comments on closed session. We have 3 speaker cards. Each person has 2 minutes. And if the person requires a translator, we'll give them the floor, 2 minutes for individual and 2 minutes for the translator. So the first person we have here is Melba Smith. 2 minutes.
All right, good evening. My name is Melba Smith, and I am the parent of a 7th grader who attends Oakland Charter Academy, and I am deeply concerned about what's going on at the site. There has been 2 new site directors in the year and a half that we've been there, and I understand that there have been 5 in 5 years. The leadership does not reflect the demographic of the school, and also the loss and dismissal of teachers in the middle of the semester, whether they're being terminated or they're quitting, and that interrupts the learning process and causes instability at the site. Also, at the FST meetings, there are no translators, so when I attend, I am completely lost because mostly they're Latinos, so I don't know what's going on. And the school sits in the midst of a homeless encampment, which is quite disturbing. The kids are exposed they have to wade through garbage and filth to get to school. They're exposed to people with obvious mental illnesses, criminal activity, and possible sexual predators. Our children need stability, they need structure, they need commitment, they need to feel as if they're important, cared for, and they need the opportunity to succeed. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Cynthia Hernandez.
Hi, my name is Cynthia. I'm a parent from PGE.
I'm sorry, could you wait till we start
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So, once again, my name is Cynthia. I'm a parent from PGE. The reason I am talking to you guys is because I want to talk to you guys about the budget cuts done to the SPED department. My biggest concern is that I am a SPED parent. My child receives services at PGE, and he is supposed to be receiving a one-on-one, and he is not receiving those services due to that budget cut. I read in your minute notes from November 28th that you guys
soy papá de Richmond,
My name is
Mariela Ayala Cuellar.
and I am mother of a child in Richmond.
Yo pues tengo hijas de Benito Juárez y en middle school en Richmond Charter Academy.
I have children in Benito Juárez and the Charter Academy.
En la middle school también tengo mucho pendiente porque se están yendo los maestros. Mi hija va a séptimo grado.
I'm also very worried about the teachers leaving in middle school. My daughter's in 7th grade.
3 maestros se han ido.
3 teachers have left.
Uno al principio del año
One at the beginning of the year
que enseña inglés.
who teaches English.
Después Miss Witt que enseñaba ciencia y matemáticas.
Then Miss Witt who taught science and mathematics.
Y un maestro de probación que estaba por 30 días que lo corrieron.
And another teacher who was there who was on probation who was fired. He was there for 30 days
Porque le dijo malas palabras a los estudiantes.
because he said bad words to the students.
Eso para mí es muy... me preocupa porque si el maestro
That worries me
no está teniendo control de la clase,
because if the teacher doesn't have control of the class,
¿por qué no nos están diciendo a los papás?
why aren't they telling the parents?
Necesitamos juntarnos porque no podemos permitir que los maestros estén yendo y hagan
We need to get
inconsistencias.
together because we need the teachers to be together and not have inconsistencies.
Porque los niños van a ir a 8º grado y están perdiendo instrucción.
The kids are going to go into 8th grade and they're losing instruction time.
Entonces necesitamos que nos digan la verdad y hablar.
So they need to tell us the truth and talk to us
¿Por qué los maestros están yendo? Por
as to
favor,
why the teachers are leaving. Please.
no pongan solo curitas para tapar un maestro.
Don't just use a band-aid to take care of one teacher.
Porque necesitan estar los maestros comprometidos, preparados,
The teachers need to make an agreement, they need to be prepared.
para que le enseñen a nuestros hijos y todos trabajar en juntos.
All of us need to work together.
En la escuela,
In the schools,
en la casa,
at home,
porque nuestros hijos van a tomar los exámenes
because our kids are going to
estatales
be taking the state exams
y no están preparados.
and they're not ready.
Fuimos a una reunión del FST,
We went to the LFST meeting
3 papás
and
en
3
esa
parents
reunión.
went to that meeting.
Necesitamos más involucramiento.
We need more engagement.
Cuando dieron los resultados de los exámenes,
When they gave the exam results,
está fatal.
it was terrible.
Los resultados son fatales.
The results were terrible.
Necesitamos que el rendimiento académico progrese porque
We need better academic achievement.
esto no puede estar pasando.
This can't be happening.
Estos niños se van a ir de la middle school a high school.
These kids are going to go from middle school to
No
high
están
school
preparados.
and they're not ready.
La high school al college, a la universidad, no
High
están
school,
preparados.
college, university, they're not ready.
Por favor, trabajemos juntos.
Please let's work together.
Yo, cuando me llaman y dicen, oh maestro, se fue porque
When they call me,
personal,
they have a message saying there's a teacher who left for personal reasons.
eso no hay control.
There's no control over that.
Otro que el maestro se fue porque fue a explorar el mundo.
Something else said about the teacher going because he or she was going to go explore the world.
Y el otro en probación porque le dijo una mala palabra a los estudiantes.
The other one on probation because he said a bad word to the students.
Lo corrieron.
He was fired.
Eso para mí me preocupa demasiado,
To me,
demasiado,
that's very worrisome.
porque los maestros están vienen y van, vienen y van.
Teachers come and go.
Necesitamos consistencia,
We need consistency.
por favor.
Item 7.0, recess to closed session. Let's recess to closed session. We're going to your office, right?
Yeah.
We should be back in 30 minutes, no more than 45 minutes, I would say. Reconvening from closed session, there is nothing to report. Roll call to open session, please.
Board Chair Garsoto,
Present.
Board Vice Chair Wilson,
Present.
Board Secretary Correa Matinger,
Present.
Board Treasurer Vargas,
Present.
Board Member Gross,
Present.
Board Member Baca, Quorum established. Baca be absent.
Thank you. Item 10.0, public comments. I have one speaker card. Cynthia Hernandez. You have 2 minutes. There should be 2, I'm sorry. I have a total of 3. Item 7.1. This one was for closed session. Okay. So I have 2 speaker cards. The first one, Cynthia Hernandez. 2 minutes.
So I want to readdress again the concern from the closed session. So the number one core value for AMS is student first. And I felt that on November 28th, you guys didn't put students first when it came to the budget cuts for this budget department. And I want to rearrange. Now I'm afraid that my son and many other students will fall behind because of the services cut due to staff being laid off or rearranged. And that's my biggest concern. What will happen with those students who aren't receiving those services that they need to receive to the end of the school year? So I just want to, that's it.
Next we have Mariela Cuellar, sorry. 2 minutes?
2 minutes. It's hard for me.
Okay.
But let's do this. Okay, good evening again. No retaliation for my daughter, members of the community, or myself. My name is Mariela Cuellar. I'm a mother of BJE and RCA. I would like to start by saying thank you to the BJE updated administrators. Good things are happening at Benito Juarez. My hope is to improve more in academic, social, and emotional, and real family engagement. RCA, there's a lot of things that we need to improve in RCA too. I've been coming to the AMS board meetings since my daughters came to BJE 2 years ago. I have learned a lot from the AMS charters, corporation, and charters in general. Board members, I have sent you emails in September, October, about the meetings schedule, the calendars, the West Contra Costa Trustee Area Planning for 2020, and other emails, and no one has answered me any emails. Maybe the reason is because of the Brand Act. I don't know. AMS organizations and you have broken the Brand Act multiple times by not posting the agendas on time for the public-owned sites. Website posting has changing constantly. I was so happy that at the beginning of the year, I saw the schedule and there were 4 meetings scheduled in Richmond. But now, there's only 2. I don't know why it keeps changing. I've been telling you since I came 2 years ago that we must have 1 meeting here and 1 meeting in Richmond so we can take turns. So that way, more parents can come to the meetings and know what the real issues. Here you guys are making decisions for our children, so we must participate. So I know, but I will continue.
Gracias. 11.0 presentations, 11.1 CEO report.
Good evening, members of the board. Just going to provide some brief updates this time. Start with operations specific to teacher committees. Teacher committees have been set up in 3 areas: calendar, budget, and curriculum. So some of our career path teachers are going to have signed up to work with our staff around instructional calendars, which means professional development, on-site professional development, and then our summer summit. Budget committee will review site-level budgets and operational budgets and expenditures around PD, curriculums, and so forth. And then the curriculum committee, most recent adoption of the NGSS, Next Generation Science Standards in the state of California, were just released sometime earlier this year, school year, and so we're vetting out the curriculum together with our curriculum team, and the process has been established. So we are set to roll those out as we plan for next year's program. Another operations is Educate 78 is a foundation based out of Oakland, California. They reached out and were interested in funding a community outreach position, which they funded. And then that led to a larger discussion around a bigger fund that they have established, which has to do with growth in the Oakland region. And so we started yesterday with the call, but we go into full diligence phase. They're going to require a meeting with one board member. I'll get all the dates as soon as I hear from them. It'll probably happen through the month of February. And then they're going to do Bellwether Education is coming to do a walkthrough of the different Oakland sites and to give us assessments and takeaways and to see if we qualify for the larger fund, which I'm not sure the total yet because it depends on the size of possible expansion.
Brian, can I ask a question?
Yes.
What's their priority with that fund?
Expansion, Oakland expansion
Meaning?
of new seats in Oakland, which this school where we're at is an expansion. They're adding, I can't believe that, I think it's, over the last 2 years, it's been like 110 students. And as you see downstairs, the former daycare moved out, so it has more room. So that's what got them interested when they came over and visited with me about the community
So
outreach.
it's capital funding?
Yes. No, not capital funding. It's operational dollars, but it mimics really the federal expansion grant, where they give you a seat, such a price for new students, and then if it's internal growth, if it's not a new school, they'll cut it in half. Instructional college acceptances are starting to roll in for some of the high schools. I heard from a friend of mine who sits on the admissions committee for Harvard. He interviewed 2 of our students from Oakland Charter High School, and he was glowing about the 2 students we met with. I also have a bunch of students from Richmond who are starting to roll in, so it's a really exciting time. In full disclosure, my son's a senior at John Henry High School, so it's nerve-wracking, but it's fun at the same time to see the excitement in their eyes. So as we start getting them, I'm going to have the college advisors come, or the leaders, make a presentation to you all when it really rolls in. WASC, so we just completed WASC at both Oakland Charter High School, John Henry High School. This is the self-study, it's the larger self-study. There's going to be on-site visits coming up with the WASC committee. Oakland Charter High School is finishing they had a 6-year accreditation with a 1-year visit, which is the prize. That's the one that most administrators want to get. John Henry High School they've had a 1-year WASC because they were in full growth. Now that they have a senior class, now it comes the full self-study. And we just submitted that last week. I'll also provide an update once we get response back from WASC, once they're going to review the self-study and get back to us with the timeline. Staffing, OCA administration, as we've heard, we do have on-site support. Ms. Colachina, who's instructional coordinator, data instructional coordinator, will be at Oakland Charter High School onboarding our new dean of instruction. We hired him from Chicago last year, but he's in Chicago, so it took him some time. So he shows up on June 28th, working with Ms. Colachina. Dr. Ellingberg, who's the operations manager, has been serving as dean. And so just to provide an update, Lucas Kelleher is the new administrator's name, who will be here on the 28th, and I'll make sure he'll come to the February board meeting to introduce himself to you all. As I stated, the Ed 78 Foundation funded a community organizer, Row Oakland. We're vetting out a few candidates. I'll provide an update when we solidify some of the names. Right now, it's just vetting out. We just received the funds right before we broke out to break. So we're going to pick it up here probably by February. And then in terms of community events, Oakland Charter Advocacy Group is a group of charter school leaders who have gotten together to work together around different areas such as best practices, governance, and just overall cohesion amongst the charter sector. And so I was asked to co-chair a couple of the meetings, so I co-chaired the last two. And it's really good to be amongst other local leaders and get to know programs. We're going to set up site visits of each other, stuff that we used to do, and then we kind of hunkered down and sheltered up. But I think I always learn a lot from school visits to other networks. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. I'll be participating with Ms. Mina Wilson, cracking the codes, addressing the system of social inequity. It's going to be this Sunday, and it's part of a series of MLK celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King. And I'm very excited. Saw the video, and I think we all left stunned. I know I did. I couldn't sleep. But it's going to be held Sunday, January 20th, 4 p.m. in El Cerrito at the Performing Arts Theater. And Ms. Wilson has flyers, so I'm really looking forward to that. Made some fantastic panelists, and I'm excited for that. And to always work with Ms. Wilson as I get a chance to. March 13th is 2019 as part of a rally at the Capitol. This is a California Charter School Association sponsored event. They came out to Richmond. We had a screening of Waiting for Superman, multiple screenings. They had presence there. They announced to the families in attendance about a Capitol campaign that they have to visit legislators on March 13, 2019. Soon as I think it's this Tuesday, I have a meeting with the organizer. We're going to vet it out to the leaders, who will then meet with FSTs and then talk with our families. And I think that it'll probably host an assembly, one in Richmond, one in Oakland, to discuss the purpose and the intent. It's a California Charter School Association event, so they'll be present to discuss it. They're providing the busing, the finance, but they're providing the busing to take them to the Capitol. Students are invited as well. I think we participated in it about 2 years ago, and it was a powerful event for the families. So I look to participate fully this year again. So we'll share that information out with the leaders as soon as we get it. And then lastly, community engagement training with Innovate Education. I attended it last year. Member Wilson also attended with me. It's a fantastic training for our families and community organizers. We get a set of sponsored tickets. It's a very coveted training. So we have, I'm not sure, I haven't checked in with our community engagement person to see if the seats were already filled up. I had a conversation today with the CEO of the training, and it's so booked that they're thinking of setting up another one local. So I'm hoping that we can set something up here and even probably just host it here and invite our Oakland to expand it out to more families from our system. But it's a fantastic training on just active community organizing and family engagement. That's all I have. If you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Williams?
Who is the community engagement person?
Mr. Robert Moncada.
All right, moving on to 11.2, instructional update. Sure, this is my version.
Just to piggyback on what Mr. Lopez mentioned about WASP, we will actually be needing your support on, for a dinner actually for one of the sites. And John Henry has a dinner set up for the 10th, this is the 10th through the 13th. Excuse me, yeah, February 10th to the 13th, we will have a dinner there in Richmond, and we need board representation, so we'll send out more information. We need all the board members to attend, it would be nice. We did put the John Henry self-study for you all to read, 300 pages, if you want to read it. Oakland Charter High School's visit will begin 2:25, and their report was just submitted actually yesterday, so we will have more information about if we need board representation at the dinners. After school program grants were actually just submitted for both Richmond Charter Academy and Oakland Charter Academy. We know both sites have after school program grants right now. They're until 6 o'clock. And so ACES grants right now we're doing, will be reviewed. Hopefully we get the renewal for next year.
And how much?
They're about $130,000 a piece.
For how long?
For 3 years. Actually, right now in AMPS, all the sites have an ACES program except the high schools. It's an elementary, middle school grant. We are in the process right now of doing our interim assessments. At the, I think two board meetings before this one, we had come out and shown you the data. So those interim assessments will be actually conducted in the next few weeks, and we'll have data to provide to you in March. And then we also are going to be doing NWA, which is going to measure growth over time, and that will be conducted in February. We'll bring all that stuff to you all as well.
All right. I'll just add a quick thing. I was going to close the loop on the discussion we had about the data last time. So I shared, I'm not going to reference them, but I did share the 3-year comparison, or the 3-year historical piece, and then a list of comparison schools. And what I wanted to do real quick was just to read. I don't think I did an excellent job explaining and also inspiring you all related to the fact that we do know what the issues are. We talk about them. So I drew up a simple schematic, and I just want to take 3 minutes and share it with you and explain how the investments fit in. Yeah, I'm the type of person who keeps a chart paper in my room. I drew this up before I got here, so it's overly simplified, but what I just wanted to quickly share is, you know, in any organization, any team, you got a clear picture of where you're going, right? And then if where you're going is driven by human performance, then you need to have a clear picture of what great human performance is, right? That's the first variable we've been thinking about, right? When you have a clear picture of what performance needs to look like to drive to where we're going, most teams, even if we were building widgets, right, we're going to have some sort of quality assurance level. In a moment, I'm going to reiterate that we've invested a lot of attention in the quality assurance level. And then last, incorporating cycles of reflection to adjust along the way to see what's working, make sure what's not. Now, this piece right here has to do with what is our framework for excellent teaching. And I think Mr. Lopez already explained, with the Common Core, we need to revamp and redefine certain elements of our teaching domains. So we know we're on that. That's a project that would take place in the upcoming academic year, right? Now, on the quality assurance piece, that is, these folks also need to have a clear vision of what the excellent teaching is, and they are the ones who actually make people better, right? In our industry, in our sector, it's very rare that a teacher comes completely pre-built. You know, even where I used it in New York, where per pupil is double, like a kid comes attached like $20,000 attached to them, and it's still hard. It's just the reality of our industry. So we know and we accept you have to build and grow people, right? So that is where the investments come in of the new teacher project. This is someone with very deep vision of what great teaching looks like, teaching our site directors every other week, supporting them to know how to define and coach great teachers. That's why we think this is so important. Relay is about once every 6 to 8 weeks or so, and this is training all levels of our leadership as well, both on how to assure great quality, but also how to step back using data And at the beginning of the year, we had an investment where we brought in a team that helped develop our management side as well. So in next month, or definitely not next month, the following month, we intend to share updates in terms of the specifics outcomes we're seeing on this TNTP investment. They're in the process right now of our coach from TNTP is collecting data for every single leader, both quantitative and, to your request, qualitative reflections as well, so that we can share qualitatively what are the impacts of it on the ground. As far as student performance data, Ms. Villa hinted at it, but just so you know, we are administering our second round of interim assessments, which is what we looked at last time, the week of January 28th. And then NWEAs and ACT Aspire for the high school, those are the ones where we can measure growth, right? So that's when we'll have a growth statement at mid-year. And that administration week is the weeks of February 4th and February 11th. So I wanted to also share those upcoming dates.
Thank you.
Carl, can you talk a little bit about Accelerator?
Yes, I forgot to put Accelerator up here. These organizations work primarily with our deans of instruction, so these are site-level positions, and our site directors, these are site-level positions. The Accelerator from Achievement First is a cohort of CEOs and district-level instructional leaders. So I believe in February, me, you, and Ms. Villa will be going to Brooklyn. Achievement First is a premier charter school network in the Northeast. So what they help us learn how to do is acquire and embed system-level practices. So one of the things that we've spent a lot of time working on at Accelerator is how do we get very clear about what our priorities are, and then how do we execute more effectively on a clear set of priorities, which is kind of, I didn't talk a lot about it, but this is what Accelerators have been helping us get a lot clearer on. So the big point I just wanted to say is I definitely did follow up with those data reports as requested, but I wanted to make sure I did a better job explaining that we are thinking a lot about what needs to change and invest in energy. And as I always say, I always close and say, please keep holding us accountable because we want to do this right. But I wanted to give some context on what we're doing so far.
Thank you. I have a question. Have we already developed a description of excellent performance? Are those already articulated, or is that something that's being developed now?
So we have the existing AMPS teaching domains. I didn't really go into this a lot, but okay, when the Common Core standards happened, I'll do a quick thing. They did the research, they found out kids were going to college, and let's say this is like college level, reading level. Kids were coming into college here. So the standards meant you had to move 11th, 12th grade standards up here, which means you got to move 8th grade standards up here, which means you got to move 4th grade standards up here. This is a different type of English teacher now. And so as we define this new type of English teacher, that's why we're going to lean a lot on the AF Accelerator, the work we do in Brooklyn, for them to help us re-describe that level of teachers. So we do have teaching domains we can follow up and send them, and they describe many elements of great teaching, but on the content side, we're going to update them to become.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else on this presentation? No?
No, we don't need that.
Okay.
It was just, that was the data we followed.
Are there any questions regarding the instructional update from the board? No questions? Okay, thank you. Moving on to business, 12.1 EPA spending report, resolution and actuals.
Good evening, board members. My name is Will Mendoza, your Director of Finance. What you have in front of you is actually a resolution of our educational protection account. This is something that we actually do on a yearly basis. It must be approved by the board as reflected. This is in essence our Prop 30 revenues. The EPA account was actually passed on about originally in 2012. And as over the past 3 years, what we typically do is the funds that are generated from the EPA account are fully dispersed and invested directly into teacher salaries. Part of the attachments is you also have what we received last year, and I gave you kind of an indication. It's been fairly consistent, about $1.3 million, $1.5 million over the last 3 years. It kind of shows you per site, per school, how the funds are allocated directly to salary, and also gives you the EPA for the upcoming year for 17-18, which are bound to receive about $1.5 million. Of course, per the resolution that you have in front that must be signed by the board president and secretary, these results will be published, uploaded into the school's website, and and so everyone, the community can see exactly not only the funds that are being dispersed, how the funds are being allocated.
So I had a hard time, and I'm seeing the same problem here. I couldn't view the forecast amendment document because it was too large.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's coded weird. Yeah, so could you open it so we can see it?
Ooh.
That's what I saw too.
Well, you know what? I have a hard copy. Yeah, maybe. Yes. So what you will get, and maybe I could go and make some copies of this. I apologize for that. But what you will see is once again actual expenditures for this past year, 17-18, broken out per school, and then the figure that we received last year was 1.535.
And last year we used the money also for teacher salaries?
Yes, the past 3 years, 100% of the Prop 30 EPA funding has been utilized directly as demonstrated for teacher salaries. And then you also see the forecasted for this upcoming year, 18-19, which shows by particular site, and the total amount that we're projected to receive is about 1.48.
Great. And it says we're supposed to post it on our website?
Yes.
Are we doing that?
Yes, yes. If you go to our website, there's certain financial disclosures that we provide in addition to our audited financials that you guys just approved. We'll be posting this up once it's been signed and endorsed and approved by the board.
Great. Are there any other questions regarding this item?
Is this amount fixed or is it going to change because of the proposed governor budget?
That's a $1 million question. What I can tell you is it's one of those things that the governorship does their equations and then ultimately, in essence, will let us know based upon what's available, right? The resolution kind of spells that out. What we have seen at least the last 3 years that it's the average, or the range of maybe between 1.3 and 1.5. The last two actually have been pretty consistent.
What percentage of overall salaries is this?
What was the question?
What percentage of total salaries does the 1.5 cover? Oh, that's I would say 2 million out of what would that be?
It's probably about
You say about 15?
about 15 to 20%.
15, 20%. Yeah, good question.
What did you say?
15
About
to
15,
20%. 15 to 20% of overall salaries.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the EPA spending report resolution and actuals?
It is up there.
Oh, there it is.
Can you zoom in?
Yeah,
It's not the.
it's not in the best shape, but
There you go.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's 2018-19? Or 19? 19?
this is 18-19.
Yeah, and by the way, there's a little notation that says none of these funds cannot and will not be allocated to administrative costs. It's 100% being utilized directly to teacher salary.
Great. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Great. Moved by Hernan, seconded by Edgar. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Item 12.2, elementary attendance area resolution.
Good evening, board members. Gordero, Chief Operating Officer. This is a resolution we wanted to really get an answer commitment for. Currently we have preferences for our lotteries when we do our applications and enrollments, and you see that it's, at all of our charters, siblings of existing students, students enrolled in another AMETHOD public school, children of the charter school teachers, but not that can't exceed more than 10%, and then residents of the district. When we put residents of the district, the purpose of that was to make sure that we had a preference for the children who were actually in the district that we were serving. And the last couple of years, we've gotten feedback from our district authorizer partners that they want to make sure that we're serving neighborhood kids, wherever our schools are located, that we're actually focused on that specific neighborhood and community, which we totally agree with. And residents of the district, we realize is pretty broad because our districts cover a lot of different parts of the city. So what we're proposing is that we adopt a preference that would focus more on our neighborhood and local community. And you see it's students who are currently enrolled in or reside in the elementary school attendance area of the public elementary school in which the charter school is located. We got the language directly from the CDE because that's the language you would use to say you're serving kids in that attendance area, and it's a neighborhood school.
If Theodore could ask you to slow down just a slight bit.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Okay.
She's having a hard time keeping.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, and we've been given this feedback, like I said, from our district authorizing partner. So this will, as we move forward with renewals and with new charters, this will kind of send a signal to our families and to our neighborhoods that we want to serve that specific neighborhood and the demographic of the children that are there. So we're asking for the board to approve this resolution as a way to show our commitment to that preference.
Are there any questions about this item?
Yes, I have a question. When you say local community, what are what's the scope of that?
The local attendance area of the elementary school closest to our charter school.
Okay.
So whatever the attendance area is of the local elementary school in where our charter school is located, that's defined by that attendance area, we would give preference to that attendance area.
Is that Eastern? Which school is that?
It depends on where the school is, but yes, in the case of Richmond, it'd be Eastern.
There's a few.
Yeah, there are.
The
Yeah.
CDE defines it. That's what the part of
Okay.
it. Right.
Any other questions for me? All right, can I get a motion to approve item 12.2, elementary attendance area resolution? Can I get a second? Moved by Diana, seconded by Adnan. All in favor? Aye. Approved unanimously. And with that, we are adjourned at 8 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for being here.